What's up, y'all? It's your boy Gremlin back again at Clanime, where we talk, debate, and relate anything and everything anime. Today, we talking about my boy. We talking about my boy. Right here. You know who he is. Let's get to it. Alright, quick disclaimer, y'all. Just as usual, man, we will be specifically talking about the Uchihas. Not full of Naruto, not full Uchiha, but we will mention a little bit of Uchihas, and it's specifically my boy, Itachi. And the only reason we're going to talk about him is because recently there have been statements saying that the reason all the people in Boruto have been started to get overpowered is so that we cannot have the argument that Itachi can beat them. And let's just get one thing straight, man. We don't love Itachi because he's powerful. We love Itachi because of his story, and he is a great person. And that's really what I wanted to break down. But let's not forget that Kishimoto wrote the Uchihas. There's only like 5 living ones. And I say that very lightly because we're not going to be talking about this guy. The other ones, man, they were written to perfection, and it's kind of hard not to bring them up in a debate when you're talking about power scaling in Naruto. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about it. Izumi Uchiha. Okay, so that was not actually stated to be any love interest or anything else, but we all as fans kind of went ahead and did that ourselves. Okay, Izumi Uchiha was Itachi's potential love interest. When he went to massacre his clan and kill all of them, he chose to choose and kill her first. And so what he did was he used his Tsukiyomi and he potentially put her into a trance. Tsukiyomi allows him to manipulate time and space. So what he did was he gave her, within a matter of seconds, he let her live her full life out. And she was married to him. They had a happily ever after, everything else. And then she died peacefully. Even though within a matter of seconds, we actually know what happened. But I think it was really cool that he actually chose to do that for her. Like I said, it doesn't say that she is his love interest, but that kind of tells us all we need to know. So for that, respect. And that's really all I got on Izumi. I just wanted to really talk about that real quick because I do think that shows a little bit about his character and why I have the points I do. So anyways, let's continue on. Shisui is my dude, man. Alright, so Shisui Uchiha, I gotta talk about him because he is my favorite Uchiha of all times. I hate that they didn't really put him into the aspect other than the story, which I understand. Everybody is kind of upset about it. If you're a Shisui fan, I know you're upset about it, but let's be honest, it said it in his name. Shi actually means death. Sui actually means water. Death by water. Let's be honest, we all knew it was coming, bro. He sacrificed himself, committed suicide into a river, and gave Itachi his ultimate power and goal. But we cannot forget that Shisui was obviously stated to be one of the most dangerous Uchihas, and that is the reason they wanted him and his power. And he left that in the hands of Itachi because Danzo stole the other one. And that is the Kodomatsu Kami. Okay? The Kodomatsu Kami is literally the power to literally look at something and put a thought into their head. And they have to do it. It's basic mind control. And he could do it in both eyes. Once every 12 hours, I think. Or I might have been doing that wrong. It might be 12 days or something. But either way, he could do it. And that's all we cared about. Like, he could tell you, hey, We ain't doing this. That's some Code Geass stuff, alright? I'm just saying, bro. You gotta listen to this man. Not to mention he was already on par, if not better than Itachi, because him and Itachi trained together day in, day out since they were 5 years old, bro. And that was so traumatizing to watch him die. He took out his eye, gave it to Itachi, and said, hey man, use it. And then he jumped off the cliff straight into the river, and that's how Itachi got his Mangekyo Sharingan. And we can't fault anybody for that. I just wish I would have seen my boy Shisui a little bit more, man. Okay, so let's talk about my boy Itachi before we continue to talk about death in the family. Might have been bad timing on that. So, at age 4, Itachi had witnessed the Third Great Shinobi War. And now, obviously, he was 4 years old, so he did not partake in the war, but he did witness a lot of bodies come back on a lot of stretchers, and a lot of friends that came back with no parents. And you can kind of see how that would probably take a toll on somebody. On age 5, he met his little brother Sasuke was born, and he also was acquainted with Shisui at the time, my boy. They went on, started training and everything else. By age 6, Itachi went into the academy. Now, mind you, he has the second best score of all time since Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage. So, you're telling me this 6-year-old kid has the same scores, if not right under the 4th Hokage? Come on now. Alright, let's keep cooking. Alright, so by 8 years old, this boy was learning his Sharingan. He mastered it by 8 years old. So right after he learned it, he pretty much got it down pat. By 10 years old, he was a Chunin. By 11, he was part of the Anbu Black Ops. Now, that's obviously a big deal. Not to mention, he was training directly with Tenzo and Kakashi. Tenzo is Yamato, by the way, if you don't know his actual name. And by 11, he was a captain. No, my bad. Danzo decided to tell everybody in the village that he was 13 so that he could actually be of age, because nobody wanted to listen to an 11-year-old by being a goat and being a captain of one of the special forces within the village. So, tell me my boy ain't goated already. They wrote him this way, not me. So did y'all ever really notice that, Itachi showed up with Kisame and right after the Chunin exams where Orochimaru tried to destroy the village and then used the Sand Village to help him? And then literally right at Shippuden when it shows up, they show up and they're just like, what's up? Well, let me go ahead and break that down for you, because Itachi actually showed up to check on his little brother. It was not to find Naruto. That was later, but he also didn't really care to do that either. He only volunteered to look for Naruto the Ninetales so that he could check on his brother within the village, because he found out the village got attacked. And we finally find out later on, about 400 episodes later, he was a double agent. And that's just what makes it so much better. That he showed up in the beginning as a mission, but he's working for the village for another mission that no one knows about except for the Hokage. And he still showed up knowing he was banned from the village just to check on his brother that was obviously out to kill him. That's a good brother, even if you don't know it. So then the second time you see him is actually when Sasuke tries to actually kill him in a little hotel where he finds Naruto and blah, blah, blah. And he runs away. So it's actually, stated that like, oh, well, we couldn't take him because Jiraiya was there and everything else. And it's funny because I actually believe, he wanted to see Sasuke. He provoked him. It was just like, oh, you're still not strong enough. He wants his brother to kill him, because he knows he cannot get out of this alive. And we're going to break that down later. But I think it's funny that everybody's like, oh, like, well, Why did he run away from Jiraiya and blah, blah, blah. Like, let's go ahead and go every data book that we have. I actually have one right over here. They actually show that Itachi and Jiraiya have the same stats across the board. Equal. He could have definitely tried. He wasn't running from that. He literally just didn't want to do it. Because he's a double agent. But he had to play it off. He's obviously on equal terms with one of the Sannin that's obviously 40 years older than him. They could have given each other a good run for their money and then let the two Genin versus another S-class villain duke it out at the end. You know, that would have been great, but plot. So anyways, let's get back down to the basics of it. Is the whole clan massacre was a mission at the end of the day. And that was pretty much what started the journey of Itachi. So, first of all, Shisui was supposed to do it along with Itachi. He was supposed to use his Kodo Matsukami and just tell them not to do the coup d'etat. Okay? Like, don't try to overthrow the Hokage. Just shut up, you know? But there was some miscommunications there. Danzo wanted to take his eyes for himself. He got one. Shisui ran away, gave Itachi the other one, along with committing suicide, which gave Itachi the Mangekyou Sharingan. So, there we are now. Now Itachi is the strongest Uchiha there is that we know of. And his mission was, if they're gonna continue with the coup, kill him. He does what he's told. That's what soldiers do. He killed, I believe they said around 2,000 people were within that clan. So this 13-year-old boy just killed 2,000 people and ran away. Actually, he left his little brother Sasuke alive. And there was actually another person there that we found out later. I don't know how much help he was, but I would assume he was a huge help. And then it goes to show him meeting with the Hokage in secret, and he tells the Hokage about everything. He says, hey, this was my mission. They had a plan to overthrow you, and they were going to take over the village. So I did what I had to do to protect you. The Hokage then banned him from the village, but gave him a secret mission to keep everything a secret. So that's what he did. He did what he was supposed to do. He became an undercover agent and went straight to the Akatsuki, which is one of the deadliest villainous groups around. They're all S-rank villains. And why not join them? And he was actually giving feedback to the village. Even though they banned him, he was still watching over them from afar. And to me, that is dope. Man, that was his mission, his goal, his true ending was to finish the mission, man. To prove that he wasn't such a bad guy. He just did what he was told. And he made his brother strong enough through anger and revenge to eventually kill him because he felt guilty for what he had to do for his country / village. Like, you get what I mean. And so he wasn't really too bad of a guy if he still had a conscience enough to have somebody kill him. And we all know, like, Sasuke probably wouldn't have. I know it was plot. It was by far plot. There is no way my boy Itachi would have died from Sasuke that easily. And then, long behold, he has some disease that's been killing him forever. And he was on the verge of death anyways. But he wanted his brother to kill him so that he could finally do the little and give him all the memories of their whole life. And like, oh, well, here you go. You know, and then obviously Obito / Toby showed up and slash Madara, like family, man. Either way, they ended up telling Sasuke the truth, but it was like, dude, Itachi wasn't gonna die like that. He wasn't going out like that. And speaking of going out like that, let's go ahead and have fun with this one. So really, this is what really breaks it down. Not only like, so I get why people thought that it was evil of so the Akatsuki had this thing where they could possess another person and basically like do kind of like a substitution type of thing with them, to where you're using their body but it looks like you and it's kind of like an illusion. And it was actually Naruto's first murder within the whole anime. And he was actually going to hit Itachi when Itachi was trying to talk to him. And he hit him with the Rasengan. Turns out it was just some random ninja that had no recollection of being around. And he was being possessed through manipulation. And he died. And that was Naruto's first murder. Like, he just murdered some random guy because he thought it was Sasuke's brother, Itachi, which everybody hated at this time. So then they meet again, and later on, he gives him the crow. And he puts it into his stomach, and it has the Kodo Matsukami eye. And so a lot of people were like, what the hell? You know, and so really what he actually was doing was he potentially left the crow for Sasuke. And what he did was he used the Kodo Matsukami to tell anyone with a Sharingan that made eye contact with Naruto, the crow would come out and then make eye contact with that person and tell them that their sole reason for living is to protect the village hidden in the leaves. It was essentially meant for Sasuke because Sasuke had gone rogue, and Itachi knew Naruto would do anything to save Sasuke. So by doing that, he was trying to keep his brother from going evil through revenge. That did not happen. Sasuke killed Itachi. Itachi came back during the Great Shinobi War Part 4, and he was brought back from the dead. What this actually did is Itachi potentially saved and prevented the war from being worse just by doing that to Naruto. So instead of that happening to Sasuke like he intended, it actually happened to himself when he met Naruto on the battlefield and showed him his Sharingan. The crow came out of Naruto and then made Itachi, even though he was resurrected to work for the bad guys once again, it turned him good because of the Kodo Matsukami. That's how powerful it is. Dude's already dead. And then he gets brought back to being on the good side, even though he was raised from the dead to be on the bad side, just from his own jutsu that he planned for his brother. So what does he do? He goes and helps his brother kill Kabuto and puts him in the Izanagi. You know what I mean. It's one of those two. There's two of them and they work simultaneously. You know what I'm talking about. He potentially prevented the war from getting worse, all from an accident that was intended for his brother before he went off the deep end, which we already know he did. Itachi's not a bad guy. Okay, so I already know I broke down Itachi growing up through the years, but I did also want to just mention real quick, just to show a little bit of his power. Yes, he only had a partial Susanoo, but he had the Sosuke blade and then the shield, and like he could seal anything and or just eliminate it. And if you know, you know. Read up on that. I don't want to break into it real too much, but also he had the Amaterasu in one eye. And then he also had his Tsukiyomi in the other. Now, the Tsukiyomi is obviously OP. It controls time and space. I mentioned that with the Izumi thing where he gave her a happy ending even though she was dying within like 2 seconds. So that's just how powerful it is. You see it plenty of times in the show. And that's how he basically trained to see if somebody could actually control the Sharingan eye. He did it to Kakashi. Kakashi fell down within seconds, and he was actually stuck being stabbed for like 800 years or something. It's crazy, man. He literally just controls everything within his vision. He's got the best genjutsus because of that. He masters genjutsu on top of everything else. He's also one of the only members in the whole Naruto universe. There are 8 members that can use one-handed jutsu signs. So he can do a jutsu with one hand and still throw shit at you with the other. Need I say more? Dude is great. He's overpowered, obviously. And like I said, if it was not for his chronic illness, he would have still been alive and he would have still been a threat. Because I highly doubt he would have allowed Sasuke to kill him. Like I said, he would have talked it out with Sasuke in the middle of the fight. He would have probably just put him in his Tsukiyomi and was just like, hey, sit down, shut up, we're going to talk because you ain't leaving this room until we're done. You know, and he controls time and space. Why didn't he pull that out at all? He planned to die. He was a double agent from the beginning. I love him as a character. I love his story. I wish they would have portrayed it more in the anime instead of giving him his own books on the side and you had to read it. But he did have a great story. If you've read the books, you know what I'm talking about. And that's why people hype him up. It's not because we think he's the most powerful. It's because he is one of the most powerful. And you would know that if you read the facts about it. Like, I'm not saying he's the best in the universe, but the data books already said he's on par with Jiraiya. He came second to Minato Namikaze in the academy. And that speaks for itself, man. Like, he's only 5 years older than Sasuke. And plot gave him a chronic illness. I ain't got nothing else to say about the dude. I just wanted y'all to know. They've written everybody. And I can break down every Uchiha member. I almost said Akatsuki. My bad. But I can do that too. I can break down any of them, every one of them. It don't matter. He is obviously an S-class villain, working as a double agent, and still planned his own death by his brother's hand, and accidentally came back and prevented the war from being worse than it was. Y'all let me know what you think, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know what to do. The buttons are down there. I appreciate y'all. Y'all know what time it is. Peace.